Welcome back to Earth Station Trek, a show where we trek from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between. I'm Charles Kelso, and it's my privilege to introduce the Earth Station Trek crew: Keith Johnson,
I'm here because I'm afraid.
Alan Seiler,
It is a good day to die.
and Veronica Dashel.
Hi.
And welcome back, everybody. Tonight we're going to be talking about Starfleet Academy Cozine. But first, Keith, we have some This Week in Trek this week.
We do, and I have exactly 5 episodes to describe, and they are all iconic episodes, or all seminal episodes in one way or another. And
So,
Alan,
hang on. Before we record, you always say, I've only got 2 or 3 things to talk about tonight, so it won't take long. And then we get on the air and you got 5 or 6
yeah, it won't take long.
every time.
It won't take long.
I'm not saying it take long. I'm just saying.
Go right ahead, Keith.
All right. February 15th, 1993 was the airing of TNG episode Tapestry.
Oh.
Yep, the 11 millionth take on what am I thinking of?
Life.
It's a Wonderful Life, right? And a really good Q and Picard episode. The whole thing about second chances, and people always talk about science fiction in real life. If you could live your life over again, would you? And I've known people who say adamantly no. There's things in my life I absolutely would change if I could go back and do it. But then there's like this episode is everything you do, good and bad, makes you who you are. I love this episode. What Picard became was wild at the end.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great one, and it gives us a look at what Picard was like right out of the Academy.
Yes,
which is sort of relevant to our topic tonight.
Mhm.
But I like the idea that he tried to play it safe and found a life that he didn't care for.
right. Yeah, and it's such a cliche for a character to change so incredibly, but I love the fact that the Picard we saw was not in the show was completely different when he was a young man, arrogant and all kinds of stuff. Good episode.
Absolutely.
And then jump backwards a few years. On 16th of February 1967, like Marvel Comics says, enough said, Space Seed. What can you say, Mr. Rourke?
Space Seed cast a long shadow on the Star Trek franchise.
Absolutely, just one of the best.
I know that one.
There you go, and deservedly so. One of the best of all time. I read one thing with Ricardo Montalban. We had to do the movie Wrath of Khan. I found this interesting, and it makes sense. He's like he couldn't reach Khan because he hadn't seen the character. Was it Harv Bennett who directed it?
No, Nicholas Meyer.
Thank you, Nicholas Meyer.
Yeah,
and he
producer.
Right. And Nicholas Meyer had to tell Ricardo he wasn't getting it. And he's like, this is a really respectable actor. And he was kind of nervous about doing it. And Ricardo went back and watched a little bit of himself and he got it. And I thought it was kind of cool how he had to get back into that, going from Rourke to Khan.
Yeah. But like, Ricardo Montalban is Ricardo Montalban.
Right.
He's not a character actor.
Yeah. He can't not be cool.
I know.
Okay, this one is an iconic show, interesting show for other reasons. Also on the 16th of February, a year later, 1968, was the debut of the original series episode Patterns of Force. And Veronica, that's the Nazi planet one, if you don't remember that one.
Sure.
Yeah, with John Gill. And of course, what's interesting about that is they use actual Nazi symbology in that. Ironic and interesting that both Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner were Jewish. Right. And playing, having a fake to be Nazis. But I think, as you guys know, because of the contents of that episode was not shown in Germany until 1996, 30 years later. And even then, only on pay-per-view and VHS tape. It wasn't even released on VHS tape until 1996 in Germany. It was not shown on free TV until 2011 in Germany.
Is that because of the Nazi emblems and so forth? Because I know that they're very sensitive about that. Yeah,
there's a lot of laws about Nazi symbolism in Germany. They don't hide it, but they don't kind of glorify it. Also, around the time neo-Nazism was resurging in Germany, and so they were kind of concerned about stirring it up.
Yeah.
Also, Great Britain, same thing. It wasn't shown in Great Britain, and it was shown in 1970, but they cut out the whipping scene with Kirk and Spock. That was deemed too violent. That scene wasn't added back until 1992 in Great Britain.
Okay, that scene launched a lot of fanfics.
Yeah. And two more. 19th of February, 1990. One of my favorites is Yesterday's Enterprise.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, one of the best time travel episodes in Star Trek.
Roll.
What's that?
This week is on a roll. I would sit and watch a marathon of these episodes.
I know, right? They're really great ones. Okay, Charles, and then we'll end out your marathon. This is how you end your marathon. The 21st of February, 1969. Gonna crack my knuckles and jump for joy. Help of Dr. McCoy.
Herbert.
Yes, The Way to Eden aired. Also iconic for all those reasons. So bad it's good.
Yeah, it wasn't boring.
No, not at all.
Yep, true.
Yep.
That's this week in Trek history. And on a good high note.
Well, we want to grab some comments before we launch into the episode.
Oh yes, you're asking because one of them is directed specifically to you because I believe someone noticed the shirt that you're wearing.
Yep.
And Elaine asks, Charles, are you on your way to Ibiza?
Yeah, it's my all worlds break. I gotta get. I'm right after this. I'm beaming out.
Yeah, we gotta talk about that beam out.
Wayne says hello.
What's up, Wayne?
Hey, Wayne.
And Bill asks, so what is cosine? And that is the title of the episode that we're reviewing this week. And that is basically best man in a, what's those people called?
Keonian.
Or Kionian. I don't remember.
I think you're probably right.
Or as she pronounced it once, almost Kionian for a moment.
Okay.
So anyway, that's what it is. And we'll be talking all about that for the next hour-ish.
That's right. Well, what do we think of this episode? This was certainly a change of pace from last week.
It was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. Exactly.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the statement I've often made where I am not a true fan of A and B stories, honestly, most of the time. And I felt neither story was bad, but each story needed a little bit more flesh around it to me. To work.
This one felt like two B stories.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't mind a B story, so I don't really
Right.
mind that. But like Cosine, I think is you can draw direct parallels to Amok Time,
right?
Which is a much better, more dramatic, more exciting story than what they did this week.
Yes.
Yeah. Or that TNG episode where Deanna was supposed to get married, with whose name I've forgotten, the one that introduced her parents.
I don't remember.
You don't know what I'm talking about, right? Where
Haven from season 1.
That's it.
She was supposed to marry, I don't remember his name either, and I love that episode.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you my first impression of this episode, and I mean first as in like 10 seconds in, after the like when it first starts, after the like franchise ID rolls and then the screen goes black and you're like fading into the episode and there's a caption on the screen, on a black screen, and it says thunderclapping, rain falling. And I was like, oh my God, are we starting this episode on Ferenginar? But no, sadly. Oh, hey, Jared Cooper tells us that she was marrying Wyatt Miller. That is correct.
Oh, well.
Hello, Jared. It's nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, I enjoyed this episode. I mean, I've said many times in the News Trek era, I wish they would slow down and just give us some character stories. It doesn't have to be high stakes every single week. And that's what this week was. They're hanging out in the ship. They're going back to Buddy's home planet or nearby.
Right.
Which seemed like a budget saving thing to me because it was like, I don't know. I guess they thought it was cool in episode 1 to have a fish man. And then they get on this episode, and it's like, so we're going to like.
None of them actually look like Kionians.
Yeah, we're going to water.
Not a one.
We're going to Water Planet, and they're like, no, we can't afford Water Planet. We can do Desert Planet. Like, are there going to be a bunch of fish people there? No, can't afford no fish people.
It was such a weird flex.
Right.
You can kind of understand a disguise when you're amongst others, but when you're on your own home planet or moon, and you're amongst your own people.
Yeah, and
why?
It's like a private family gathering.
Why do you all look like humans?
Right. It's like, I'm a fish man from a water world, and it's right over there. You just
It's so weird.
Yeah.
If we go this whole season without seeing him look like a Kionian again, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, I want to understand what it's up because they did the same thing with the Breen in season 5 of Discovery.
Yeah.
Where they have 2 forms, and they never explain why or how or. It doesn't matter. It's just a cool thing. I want to know why they have 2 forms, and I'd like to see more Kionians in the Kionian makeup.
Yeah, and for a show that celebrates diversity, I'm not understanding why does he have to look human? That he shouldn't have to for humans' sake. So, do they breathe water in that form? He keeps babbling about gills, like you guys were saying. He even talked about how they had gills. I was waiting for that, and we never saw it.
Yeah. Maybe they look like. I'm sorry. Maybe they look like people when they're on land, and they look like fishes when they're in the water. I don't.
Sure. Maybe they had to engineer themselves to adapt to changing climates. Like, there's possibilities, but I'd like for them to give us one.
Right. It's not our job to come up with this stuff.
That's right.
We even talked, Charles, a couple of years ago. We talked about the animated episode. Remember the animated episode where they went to the planet where the people had become mer people?
The ambergris element.
Ambergris. Yep.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I did. Okay, when they were beaming out, so were they just people on Earth, like whoever's going to Istanbul, I assume they were just transporting to Earth. But anybody else, I guess they were being transported up to a ship that was taking them somewhere else.
Right. Like Genesis mentioned that she was going to a spaceport in Dubai to catch a shuttle to go see her dad. So presumably they were all, and they mentioned everybody, be careful in the meteor storm. Which, Keith, you're the science guy, so I'll let you explain the galactic meteor storm.
That sounds like a cosmic storm from Lost in Space, or
it's a Gold Key comic level phenomenon.
Stephen Colbert's voice, the way he described it, made it sound like they scheduled it.
Right.
Yeah, it almost sounded like they scheduled a meteor storm, which I
think maybe they just knew precisely when it was.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah. But I presume they're beaming to Ibiza or beaming to a spaceport and leaving the planet. Unless I
assume Nog would go to New Orleans when he was in.
Sure, yeah, he'd be in there. That makes sense.
Although Darem, I wrote down, did he have an Iconian gateway or something?
Well, right, they've got these what they call the single point artificial wormholes.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
Which you would think during the burn, Keonians would have a pretty big leg up on folks.
Right.
If they can wormhole from planet to planet. I don't know what the limitations on these wormholes are. I hope they explore that at some point. Maybe that's why Keonia, maybe it wasn't such a rich, like royal type planet previously. Maybe they use that technology for trade and commerce, and that would be a great advantage during the burn. I hope we get some of that. We got none of that here.
Yeah, because that would have to be hundreds of light years. And when they introduced the Iconian gateways in TNG, remember they said they used them to conquer much of the galaxy, which would make sense if you had something like that.
Sure, and as long, it really depends if it scales up. Because if it's a tunnel for one person at a time, then that's not necessarily you stand there at the front of it and shoot the guys that come through. It's not a huge tactical advantage, but it is a tactical advantage though.
Yeah, you can send a bomb through or something,
right?
Or you come through, go wait, hold on, wait, just wait a second, let a couple of guys come through.
It had kind of the look of like a Doctor Strange portal.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. Or it looked like the Acme holes that Bugs Bunny used to throw on the side of a cliff.
That's perfect.
What I want to know is how they drug him through and then drugged him like up the path and into that little hut in the time that it took Jaden to walk to it and go through.
Well, he hesitated though.
Not that long.
Right.
They need to close their portals when they go through them.
That's for sure.
True.
Yeah. That's something like probably Keonian parents are always on them. But close your portal. You left your portal open. Who left this portal?
Couple of comments. Jared says that he is heading out on the Star Trek cruise tomorrow.
Nice. Really?
That's awesome.
Have a good
Tell
day.
Marina that I said hello.
Let us know. Let us know what you think about it.
Seriously. Bon voyage.
Oh, he's done it. He's done it many times. Let's see. And Wayne says this episode reminded me of many dumb mistakes and regrets I suffered through in my early days in the military. Okay. Also, this episode reminded me of times when I stayed on base instead of going home on leave, standing duty. The loneliness you feel instead of being home with family affected me deeply.
Did you break into the commandant's office while you were by yourself by chance?
Just to sit in his chair.
I did like the concept of All Worlds Day. I like holidays in Star Trek, and sometimes they sound silly, and sometimes that just sounded normal. All Worlds Holiday. I like the concept.
Yeah, and I liked it because last year the karaoke party at Stellar Fest was on First Contact Day, and I needed a new theme, and I was like, All Worlds is perfect for the karaoke party. So it gave me an idea.
Nice.
Already incorporating it into my fandom.
Cool.
Good job. We might be hearing something else about Stellarfest coming up later in the episode.
That's right.
Okay, so I just want to say that I was one of my initial thoughts on this is that I was very happy. Something that I've been asking for the past 6 weeks happened this week, and that is Genesis got her recognition for being the awesome kick-ass boss that she is.
Right.
And she's finally getting noticed. And I kind of enjoyed that character arc of hers in this episode where you find out a little bit about where she's coming from mentally and emotionally and steps that she's taken and regrets that she has. And I kind of like that. I want to see more of that.
Yeah, and no one's perfect. I've said that before, that she's a little bit too practically perfect in every episode we've seen so far. So I'm glad that we finally got some flaws.
Yeah.
I guess the flaw that we got that she's driven out of fear, which those are, I mean, it seemed like pretty harsh recommendation letters for folks to psychoanalyze her in their recommendation letters to the Academy. But
it doesn't sound like a reference, does it?
Right.
No, because she's asking people that she trusts the most and they're close to her and has seen her career, and that's the stuff they write about her.
Yeah, I don't get that as a reference. I'm also understand why I don't know. Wouldn't Aki or somebody in the chain of command have already read those references so that she got there?
Someone did, yes.
Yeah, you would think so. Now, to the guy's point, that's a reference if you call somebody back later and say, hey, the cadet's here. Now I'm thinking of putting them on a different track. What do you think confidentially? As we've all know, Charles, you do job references. So that's different. So then I could see somebody go, well, this and that. But that's a weird thing to put in a reference. And she said every single person said that about her.
Yeah, that is weird.
She needs more friends. I did enjoy them just hanging out in the school. And I always like it. Like I used to have this Deep Space Nine video game called Harbinger, and it was set during an ion storm when the station was emptied out, and so it's really just you walking around on Deep Space Nine during an ion storm, accomplishing tasks. And I just really enjoyed walking around Deep Space Nine during an ion storm, and this had kind of the feel of like the ship's empty and I'm just walking around in it by myself. I like it.
There's that new Voyager game that's coming out. So I should have thought to put that in the news at the top of the episode, but I didn't even think about it. And the beauty of those kind of things is that I don't care about playing the game. I just want to walk around the ship. I just want to go to the bridge, and I want to go to astrometrics, and I want to go to sick bay, and I want to do all the things, But
I think on the Voyager one, it's a horror one, and there's going to be a bunch of jump scares and zombies and stuff. And I'm just like, that's not Star Trek.
It can be.
It can be. It has been a couple of times.
Vulcan zombies and Klingon zombies.
I want to go around and solve puzzles and be a scientist.
And Veronica, remember that giant virus that chased Janeway around the ship that time?
That's right.
Her Die Hard episode.
Yeah, her Die Hard episode. Right on.
We won't mention the Gorn. We'll move on.
One thing I did like, and I thought it was subtle. I was going to say last week, and I didn't mention this. They needed to kind of mention Caleb's mom, whether there's progress or not. So I thought it was nice that they brought that up again, just to remind you. And I thought it was fair that he was pissed that she didn't ask.
Sure, but it makes sense that she didn't. She's got bigger things going on.
I mean, in that moment, that is not the moment to ask about.
Exactly.
That.
Right. Especially given the way he was playing her. Yeah, I wouldn't ask him. I could get what she's saying. You don't want to give him any more ammunition.
Right.
So I thought that kind of made sense. But they've got 1, 2, 3 episodes to figure this stuff out.
Okay, you know what? And this is what I was thinking during the episode. One of the problems with 10 episode seasons is that we've barely seen these people in class. We've barely seen them do school stuff, and we're already getting a spring break episode.
Right.
Like you've been in this school for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're already on spring break. We've got to have at least 20 episodes for that kind of thing to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I felt that as well.
Yeah. Okay. Some comments. Let's see. Wayne says going into the staff office is going back to the prank episode. We really need to go back and visit that.
Must we?
Jared says that the short answer to this the cruise question is that it has permanently ruined standard conventions for him.
Okay.
Wow.
And he says, when I get back, I'm happy to talk with anyone about it.
Great.
So that's a great
That would be
idea.
a really awesome episode.
It would be. Let's do
Yes,
that.
you can have
Yeah.
fun.
So what do we think about the toxic, non-toxic game they were playing in the med
That's
bay?
stupid.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And she
Yeah.
made him stick his hand in there for longer when she just stuck her hand in there and wiggled it around a little bit, but she made him hold it in there for a minute.
Yeah, I guess they're sort of spoiled by like the level of medical technology they have. Like maybe it's acid. I don't know, but I've got this light I can wave over and it'll be fine. I don't think I would play that game.
Yeah,
I wish somebody had played that game in Dr. Flox's sick bay.
Oh,
He
boy.
had some crazy stuff in his
Yeah.
in his vials.
Right.
What do you think about the warp slug?
That was funny.
That was dumb.
It was fine. It felt like a Lower Decks episode to me.
Totally.
A lot of this show
Totally.
feels like a live action Lower Decks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I listened to an interview with Tawny Newsome that she did with some people over on Track Movie. And evidently she's having more and more input into the shows. And this is Tawny Newsome. She straight up said, my leanings are comedy. My inclinations are comedy. And she's the one who's definitely injecting more comedy into the series because that's what she does. So I think a lot of little things like that, those are her touches because that's kind of how like she likes to approach Star Trek. Because that slug, honestly, it did seem like it was straight out of Lower Deck, especially when the mucus was dripping and they had to freeze it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, we've seen like cosmic beings before that are presumably warping between stars, like space creatures. But yeah, it was just funny to see one so small that's just warping around the room. But really, you'd think if it's warping at such an enclosed space, it'd be like the Picard maneuver where you would see like it would appear before it disappeared. Traveling faster than light. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I guess it was supposed to be funny. I chuckled, but it was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
That and the Jet Reno big toe injury stuff. It was fine.
Jet Reno does get more screen time, it does seem.
I was gonna say that too, because when she was on Discovery, it was basically in her like she didn't want to do more than maybe 4, maybe 5 episodes a season. It seems like she's been in this season so far a lot more and a lot more regularly than she ever was in Discovery, and I'm happy about that.
There's only been like one episode where she wasn't
in
it,
the first one
at all.
Yeah, but it seemed like Discovery would go half a season and not see Jet
exactly. So I'm happy with that.
But also she's good for little walk-ins. I think the format of the show lends itself to that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and then they may be stacking her schedule where they might just be filming her scenes in a week or 2 weeks when she's available for different episodes.
Could be.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
All right, couple of comments.
Okay.
Matt Sweatman says the Voyager game is getting great reviews. It's much more robust game than the free-to-play stuff that's been released in recent years.
Did this one take like quarters or something?
Elaine says, with the slug, I could only think of Archer and his love affair with the slug lady.
Okay.
Matt says, somehow when Keith calls something in Trek fine, I think of that meme with the dog in the burning house. And Elaine follows up by saying, I will never complain about seeing Tig on my TV, especially with her gorgeous haircut. If you know, you know. Yes, I know.
Yeah.
I saw that.
I saw that video too.
If y'all didn't see, she put out a little reel where she's like super serious, and it is so funny.
Hilarious.
In that deadpan kind of funny way that she has. Oh, it's wonderful.
Yeah. And I like that she was talking to Laura Thok. They're continuing that little relationship between them. And I like getting Ake more in more of a role with both Genesis, because we haven't seen her a whole lot with Genesis. We see her with Caleb a lot, but I like to see her mentoring Genesis as well.
Yeah. This is the second episode where we haven't had Laura.
True.
But at least we had her dialogue in this one. The last one she wasn't in at all.
Yeah.
And that's interesting because that's a heavy makeup.
Wasn't she on the bridge with the other?
No,
they didn't show her.
No, the bridge was empty. That was the whole thing.
And the doctor as well. He wasn't on this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the characters, I like the situations, and I like the little world they built in this show in only 7 episodes.
Yeah.
And I even don't mind. There's a little bit of the love triangle-y stuff going on, but I think it seems natural. Well, I think it seems natural for this age group. But also, I really liked, because I found it just very relatable that that Darem likes Jaden, but Jaden likes Kyle, and so it's like, oh great, it's Kyle. And Kyle's fine, but it's just like, oh good, it's you again. I don't know. I found that very relatable.
But something has definitely progressed off screen, because we had a month between last episode and this episode, because now Kyle is kissing him on the cheek in front of people, and they hold hands as they walk away.
Right.
So their relationship has 100% progressed.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we'll get into it more when we get into more of the Darem storyline. But they really have shown a friendship between those two on screen. Like they were antagonistic in the first episode, and I remember they had the weird the close moment that one time. But I haven't really seen them hanging out or anything. You know what I mean? I guess it's just little bits here and there. But they are kind of fast tracking, because we're sort of skipping through. I mean, we're at probably 6 months of their first year now, and we're at episode 7.
That's why I was wishing that these could have been 2 standalone episodes, as you were saying, Charles. These each should have been 8 stories and different stories, because a little bit more flesh on the bones of the Darem and Jaden. The same way, I was like, well, I know he no longer thinks he's just quote unquote assholes, he calls them, but I didn't see all the other stuff that came in, like the heartfelt testimonial he gave to him. I mean, I know he walked on the hull of the ship and all, but I didn't see all the others. I didn't see all that other stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
I have more to say about Darem and his change between his being on his world,
me too. But we're almost at the halfway point.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Well, you want to do a break real quick, and then when we come back, we'll get more into the Keonian side of the wormhole
and more space slugs.
That's right. Watching on the live stream on YouTube, you got to see a new Stellar Fest promo. Stellar Fest is a convention here in Atlanta that we're all heavily involved in. I run the Star Trek track, and Alan runs the Doctor Who track, and we're all very busy there with activities and panels and that sort of thing. So April 24th to 26th, 2026.
That's right. Get your tickets. Fun. Come on and be there, because it's going to be fun. This is the second year. The first year was really good, had a great turnout, and now that we've done it once, second year is going to be twice as good.
That's right.
And seriously, for any of you who are hesitating about doing such things, especially here in Atlanta, it's not like Dragon Con. It's easy to get to. It was easy to park. It was really good. It's a perfect one, especially if you just want to get into such cons for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go.
I have thoughts, and I had some notes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really like all the little mushroom looking lights that they had in their tents, and I like the tents, and they were really cool looking.
Okay.
I really thought Jaden was going to do the breathing ritual with Darem when he was like having a little panic attack.
Oh,
I was expecting that to come out.
Point.
Yeah,
but it didn't, and I was like,
that is a good point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that would have been a good turn.
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Return to that.
And I feel like Darem, based on what we've heard about how he was from his former fiance, he was very quiet and just submissive and everything. And I guess he was like, I'm going to be the complete opposite of what I was before.
Yeah, he's embraced his life as an asshole joining Starfleet.
Yeah.
He was a nice, quiet guy before. Come be the dick you are at the Academy, Darem.
Yeah, I speaking of the 2 episodes needing to be separate, I was surprised his parents didn't show up, because that you could have.
No, they were there.
They were.
They were in the crowd,
but they didn't.
They were like looking at him in
Are
contempt.
you sure?
I'm not sure, because he didn't say they were there, and
his parents were a big deal story-wise.
Yeah,
episodes ago, you think they would call that out?
They were.
That's what I thought.
But they were in the
credits.
crowd They were
Oh.
in the crowd that
Okay.
was like looking down on him for leaving.
Yes.
I'm glad you guys said that because I had in my notes to say, did his parents show up? And if so, why did they not have a talk with them? Because again, yeah, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, they skipped the whole ceremony. I would have loved to see the
I
ceremony.
know.
Well, it was like a mock time if nothing interesting happened.
100%.
Well, yeah, because they played up. For example, remember all the letters he wrote his parents that they never responded to.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
if you think about this, your kid who you have basically, it seems like he has kind of parents who never praise, they only criticize. And so what does he do? He gives up a royal marriage. He abdicates.
Yeah.
That's even if it's cliched, that's something that we should have seen on screen.
For sure.
That's a huge opportunity that was missed there. And I think that's because they had two different stories crammed together.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Well, there was not really any drama on camera, right?
Yeah.
He debated what to do,
I feel like there was,
and then he decided what to do, and then he did it. You know, like there wasn't a battle to the death. There wasn't big dramatics. You know what I mean? Like even his fiance was like, "You should just go."
Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
I felt like there was something between his fiance's other.
She didn't even have a secret lover.
I know. I was expecting her to have her secret lover because they like held hands and looked at each other sweetly.
She needs a Ston.
Like,
Yeah.
Exactly.
One thing I did like that we got to see Jaden go a little Klingon warrior for a minute. There.
Yes.
We really haven't seen that. He grabbed a big boulder and he was going to be like, "Today's a good day to die. I'm saving my friend." I was like, "Whoa,
Yeah.
buddy, you were scared to shoot a bird with that bow and arrow earlier."
I
Right.
think that's very interesting that he does have that. And then as Alan mentioned in the opening, he even screamed, "Today is a good day to die."
Yeah.
What I also like, it was a throwback to the original series, Charles, because they kind of did a little sound and stuff to make the boulder seem heavy. And I know he's strong. Then he lifted it. You can tell it was like paper mache in his head. It was great.
Right.
I will say another thing. Speaking of a throwback to the original series, since we're talking about a mock time in as a reference to this, the one thing that there was not in this episode was a really, really iconic and dramatic score.
Yeah.
But there was no need for one. Nothing dramatic happened.
Exactly.
there was the whole like little montage of Caleb and Genesis laying there talking, where
I kind of like
they were laying there on this side and then they just switched sides for no apparent reason. One of them picked opposite sides. Like at one point their left ears were against each other and one point their right ears were against each other.
There was action.
You
I
got
didn't notice that.
I did like some of the incidental music, but you're right. Nothing that you're gonna hum, right? Nothing that you're gonna.
I mean, if you can't hum the theme song, why should you hum anything from the score?
Right.
Yeah.
We're in episode 7 of the show. We've not really talked about the theme song yet.
Well, because we have a whole episode coming up about that. We'll get to it.
It's not going to take long.
All right. Let me get a bunch of right, exactly. All right. Wayne says, anytime Star Trek does episodes about crew members standing duty alone, don't realize how much that resembles real life in the military.
Okay.
I think they weren't really standing duty though. They were just kind of
hanging out. Maybe that's what standing duty means. Maybe it's slang. I don't. Anyway, Elaine says, I think that Darem is in love with Jaden, but he's not sure how to go forward since Kyle's in the picture. Well, obviously, that is 100% the case.
Great. Kyle's here.
Yeah. Jared says, I want a full fleeted rivalry story with Kyle and Jaden and the time jump, and they time jumped it. Yep. Exactly. I kind of feel robbed.
Yeah.
Because that missing month,
Romeo and Juliet.
That missing month in between episodes means that we didn't get to. Well, I mean, we did get a little bit of them dealing with the events that happened in the last episode, but mostly in the. You remember that thing that happened a month ago? You know, you didn't see them going through it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Elaine says, we'll be there at Stellarfest, she means. And I've already turned in several panel ideas.
Awesome.
Good.
Yay. Good. Bill says something about noise complaint.
Okay.
Yes, they were in the commercial with the tap dancing.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's right.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep.
I thought we were being too loud.
Exactly. Matt says, I thought we were going to redo a mock time in this episode. Yeah, you thought that, but you didn't get it.
If
Some
only.
of the costumes were reminiscent.
There was good costuming.
Yes,
there was
the
good
costume
costuming.
was awesome.
I always got to give props to the costuming department because they've been bringing their A game in the show.
Yeah. Elaine says, "See, I think Darem's betrothed has a thing with Quill, and that should have been why they broke up." I mean, I kind of felt like it wasn't even the stuff that Jaden said about Kyle. I mean, about Darem, where he says, she's like, I don't even know the person that he's describing. I kind of feel like she saw that connection between the two of them. That's why she did it, and she's kind of covering up the story.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be a good episode too.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think again it goes back because they didn't have time, because I was thinking about that, and she knew he was going to Starfleet Academy, and he even said it sounds like they had worked out where he was basically going to spend a few years in Starfleet Academy. So in some ways, it's kind of like, well, you can't really be surprised that he might want to go back to the academy because you're going to give him a few years anyway, and he can't help that your parents decide to abdicate sooner. So in some ways, I know it happens, but in some ways, her kind of thinking, oh, you've changed. Like, well, what did you expect to happen when he went off to Starfleet Academy in the first day? It's not just a fun gig. Even if he'd gone away for 4 years, he would have changed coming back. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, but if you go off to school or go off to join the military somewhere, and then you have the option of becoming the ruler of a planet, I mean, I would probably assume somebody would be like, yeah, I'll be the ruler of this planet instead.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I guess that's true. It's kind of like rich people in our world sometimes go to the academy just to get to say or the military just so they did it, and then they get a commission, and then they drop out and go work for politics.
Yeah, it's like if somebody was like, hey, do you want to be the king of Earth? And I'd be like, ugh, I got midterms coming up. I don't know about that.
I, for one, would not want to be the king of Earth or the queen of Earth or any ruling.
I mean, you're not going to mess it up.
Yeah, I go back and rule their planets, and we're going to take over the galaxy with our warp gates, one soldier at a time.
If we get through this whole show and don't see any more fish people, I'm going to be annoyed.
Yes.
I agree.
I'm saying.
Because right now it just seems like somebody was like, hey, cool if he was a fish man. And they had no end game, right? Because they go back to his planet and we're on, not even on, I mean, we're on the volume, but it's a desert planet because they probably had stock desert. It's like Vulcan behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You know? And then they're on this is sort of the same sort of thing we've seen a lot. And I don't even mind it where you have a lot of round sets because they have the round volume around them.
Exactly.
And but I mean, you used to have the cyclorama on the original series. You used to have Planet Hell. So I don't mind that even. I don't even mind the staginess of it. But I mean, if you're teasing fish people, you got to bring out, where's the water planet? You know, I know they can do a whale. They've got a whale asset at least. Right. And nothing else, have him jump in there and swim with that whale.
Exactly. I mean, he mentioned it.
Swam with him.
Right.
I want to see it though.
Yeah.
Matt says, now we know that Klingons use the term a-hole.
Okay, Matt, now that you brought it up, I am getting slightly, it's minor. Again, it's a nitpick, but the modern lingo in the show is really irritating me. The asshole, and even his betrothed, Darren's betrothed, she said, can I talk to you for a sec?
Yeah,
that sounds so incredibly modern. It keeps taking me out of the show a little bit. Nitpicks.
Even when they got to Keonia, or the very near Keonia on the moon, and he's like, "What's a cozy?" And he's like, "It's like a best man." Well, this is an alien describing something to another alien,
right?
Yes.
It'd be great if like Jaden was like, "What's a best man?" He's like, "It's like a chadich," and then he'd be like, "Oh, you know, like."
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Everyone
exactly what I was thinking.
Everyone is so like 21st century Earth.
Right.
Like 21st century Earth culture has permeated the galaxy post-burn.
Yeah. And I think that is an absolute choice of the showrunners and the people who run the show. I think they just,
they're trying to make it more accessible.
Yeah,
exactly.
But you can do that, but still, like I said, have him say like a best man,
right?
And this dude's an alien. What's a best man? You know what I mean? And then continue the scene, and it even makes it funny and gives it a little unexpected turn.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly the kind of thing that Lower Decks did, but it works better in that kind of show.
Right. Right.
Okay. Elaine says, I do think that Darem thought he had more time and would have figured out a way to get out of the bonding, maybe as a way to thumb his nose at his parents.
I don't know. It seemed like he's just really into his best friend who he's in love with. And I mean, he seemed like he was all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say he definitely seemed all in. I mean, he definitely wanted to go back to the academy and finish up his time there. But I feel like he did want to stick it out and
like if this was a TNG, there'd be a crisis going on the planet.
Yeah.
Right.
Where they needed him to help out.
And have to make a hard choice, or something, right?
Yeah, but there's no hard choice.
There's nothing going on this planet.
A crisis like they lost all their water or something. They need it back.
Our moon dried out.
Yeah.
Those aliens from V came over to Kione and took all their water because they have so much more of it than Earth.
Yes. And Charles, when you said that, I hadn't thought about it like that. What's subtly troubling, again, nitpick, is not only are they not on their ocean planet, but their moon is a desert moon. So they literally went as opposite as possible from their native habitat. And that begs some kind of discussion.
Yeah.
So so my understanding is it used to be a water planet.
Sure.
And this was their wedding planet. This is where they have their wedding ceremony.
Right. Well, then the moon has dried out.
Right.
Because Kione is supposed to be wet and have a bunch of fish people. But fish people aren't cheap, man. They had a bunch of regular people.
That's true.
Oh no, they have to do makeup.
I wonder if there's ever a draft of this where they're on a water planet with a bunch of fish people and they have to go through and be like, oh, nope, cut this,
Right.
to get the budget.
Right.
Gosh, you know what? We're rewriting the episode now because I'm thinking about when we talk about Amok time and I'm thinking about all the Vulcan things. Now I'm thinking about they could have used the desert moon as a rite of passage. Like you have to go through some weird challenge on that desert planet that would dry you out. Just like the Vulcans have to go through the thing in the forge when they're 7 years old.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. And they're all like,
So those listening to the audio podcast need to go to marker. I don't know where we're at in the episode.
42, 41.
Go to there and watch Chuck's fish face.
Yeah, I think you could also tell that they kind of, I don't know if they had to rush through this episode or they whatever, but when his betrothed talked to Darem, she said something I thought was slightly unfair. She said that basically he was lying to her when they were going to get married. And it's not so much that he's lying to her, he's struggling with something. It's subtle, but it's important. Yeah. Because I think he still does love her, but he's changing.
I mean, he's struggling with something, yes. But she's speaking from her perspective.
Right.
And she's feeling jilted or something. And she's going to frame it in a way that makes sense in her head, not make sense in his head. So she's going to feel like he's betrayed her or that he's lying to her or something, even though that might not be the case.
Yeah. I thought that was a little harsh, but that makes sense that she felt that way. But again, she kind of ranged. She got to it so quickly. It was just so quick.
I also felt like she was hoping that he would decline the abdication because she seemed a little disappointed when he said, well, I guess that's it, or whatever he said.
Okay. Elaine says, it was interesting that their bonding clothes were made of seaweed, even though they were on a desert planet.
Yeah. Yeah, because he even mentioned something to Jaden about had to have to set or dry out. And I'm thinking on a desert planet, it'll take like 2 seconds to dry out.
Right. Yeah, no, I enjoyed the episode well enough. Like this is not my favorite of the season.
No.
It's not like remember you had Best of Both Worlds Part 2 and then you had Family. And last week wasn't as good as Best of Both Worlds Part 2, and this week wasn't as good as Family. You know what I mean? Like Family, but also Family wasn't a month after the Borg invasion. It was the immediate aftermath. So you got the emotional catharsis for Picard.
Right.
Really that was the root of it, right?
Right.
But you didn't have that here, and we didn't even see Terima. He hasn't talked to her in a month. I mean, those two characters, I think, and DeZolo, we still haven't seen the Romulan girl. We still haven't got a good reaction from her to Bobby's death. So I feel like they're skipping over a lot of the emotional ramifications of last week's episode, jumping a month later.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I mean, maybe we'll get some of that when she comes back, but I mean, I think it'd be natural for there to be some healing when she comes back, rather than getting an immediate aftermath and having the healing. You remember the drama of Picard fighting in the mud and crying, and like, I don't think we'll get to a point like that.
Yeah. No. Okay, couple of things. Matt says it felt like Darem and Genesis were the characters needing an episode, and this episode was designed to check those boxes.
Totally. Yeah.
100%.
And Jordan,
welcome.
Hello, Jordan, says, I missed the beginning, so not sure if you mentioned it. I'm really glad they followed up on Sam's. I was just about to get to this. Actually, I've been waiting to interject this. Followed up on Sam's glitching from the last episode. A month has gone by, and they could have just dropped it. Yes, I'm going to get to that in just a second, but another comment just came in. Elaine says, the only time Baba's death was mentioned was that it was the reason Jaden was going to Ibiza with Kyle.
Right.
All right. I want to talk about Sam because of the things that we got in this episode. I found the idea of Sam having to go to basically a repair center to be much more interesting than the two scenarios that we got as the features of this episode. And
she had much cooler hair than them too.
Yes. And I find it interesting that the glitching that she's experiencing was described in terms of an injury. And I think that's such an interesting concept, that she is a holographic being, but they're speaking in like physical terms. And she's framing it that way too. And I think that's a really interesting blurring of the lines in what she is. And I think that's super cool. But having to go to a place like they can't just, we saw that Caleb just like reprogrammed her taste buds or whatever, in a couple episodes ago.
Right.
But apparently nobody at Starfleet Academy can fix whatever this problem is that she's going through, and she has to go to a specialist. She has to go to a center designed to deal with these kind of things. That's intriguing.
Yeah, it was intriguing, but they kept it kind of lightweight. They described it sort of like a spa, like she's going to a hologram spa. I would much rather have gone back to her home planet. I want to see.
That's what I was hoping for.
She would tell Ejiofor, and I want them to see their reaction to her. They sent their little 2-month-old 17-year-old off to college, and she came back glitching and shot by phasers or disruptors or whatever. I would love to have seen their reaction, her reaction to maybe facing a little bit of what mortality is. That she's probably the first injury she's ever had in her existence.
Right.
And they sort of just glazed right over all that. They sort of skipped right past it and sent her off to a spa so that we could go to not Fish Planet.
Exactly.
That's true, because her people are trying to decide if they even want to they want to deal with solids, and this is a bad lesson.
Well, great. She rebelled and didn't want to do what we said, and that's actually a good twist, because like remember how you want to do it your way. Well, look what happened.
Look what happened. Exactly. The only thing is that we only have 10 episodes, and we've already had a Sam episode.
I know
we have not gotten a good Genesis episode or a Darem episode yet. So they couldn't do a Sam episode again.
Right. No,
that's a shame, because that's the far more interesting story.
10 episodes.
Yeah.
I kind of feel that as much as I like the actor who plays Caleb, I also think even in the allotted time, if they had a little bit less Caleb in the episode and more Genesis, that might have helped. I mean, I know he's kind of the main guy, but I kind of wouldn't mind seeing her a little bit more by herself without even him to have to bounce off of. It might have helped a little, or to me, maybe just more with her and Aki in some way.
Yeah.
I like him, so I got no problem with it.
Yeah, he's kind of the lead of the show, though. He's the lead of the show. So, I mean, even when it's not about him, they sort of check in with him.
But I would like to have seen his segments to be just him, where he's by himself at the Academy. Maybe we needed 3 storylines, and you check in with, 2 main ones, and you check in with somebody else. But I think that it would have been great to have him just hanging out by himself and seeing how he occupies his time and seeing where his head goes in that situation when he's not got school and rivalries and a budding romance to distract him from his own inner thoughts.
One thing I will say about the show, because I think I've said before, none of us have hated the show so far, even episodes like this, which is not my fave. The fact that they have been renewed for 2nd season is positive, because they have really done a good job with this season. I bet they'll be able to flesh out and address some of the little things that we probably feel, because I'm sure they've noticed too. That's kind of cool.
Maybe, but they will almost certainly be introducing at least a few new characters next season, because these guys will be going up a grade, and we'll have new freshmen.
Yeah, presumably.
Or maybe they start going on more missions. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that.
Possibly.
I agree with what Alan said earlier, though. I would like to see them in class at some point. right?
Yeah.
I want to see
Yes.
them studying for a test.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay. Matt says, I would have thought Sam's people trying to forbid her from returning to Starfleet would have made a great drama.
Yes.
Yes. And Elaine says, they did make sure to show Caleb as a bit of eye candy for a moment. Girl,
And they
you
made
know
sure
it.
he was wet and sparkly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was that dude, I wouldn't wear a shirt at all.
Absolutely not.
A complete
I mean, if your captain gets away with not wearing shoes, then by God, I'm not going to wear a shirt.
What's
Pants,
funny?
Apparently.
Complete useless trivia. The actor had to lose significant weight for this role because he was trained to be a bodybuilder in real life.
Oh,
and so he dropped a lot of weight. So he slimmed down for this role, which I think this is also his first real acting gig, which I also am impressed with.
I think he's a natural. He's got the screen charisma. I haven't had a single issue with his acting.
Same here.
Not at all.
I think he's great.
Yeah. In fact, the whole cast has just been really, really good.
Yeah, they are good.
And I think they're well-drawn characters. Like, we can complain about what we saw this week and what we saw next week or last week, but I think that they've done a good job of establishing these characters. I like their interactions. I like the little world they built in the show. I'm in, and that goes a long way towards sort of buying on the show.
Yeah.
Right. Like if I don't like the characters, I don't like the situations, and there's a bad episode, I'm way harsher than characters that I like that are just in an episode that I don't care for.
Yes, exactly. Matt says Laura Falk and Jet Reno family sitcom would be an awesome spinoff.
Yes.
Yep.
Sign me up.
Just little 10, 15 minute segments once a week.
And Bob Picardo is the next door neighbor.
Yes.
Because you got to have a wacky next door neighbor.
Exactly.
A little grumpy. Something we haven't mentioned. I don't think we've mentioned this yet on the show. About their turbo lifts. They've got these turbo lifts that have benches in them. Have we talked about this at all yet?
A little bit.
We mentioned it, but we've not really talked about the idea of it.
Because I saw them this week. They didn't use them a lot, but they were in there mopping them or something. I mean, what do we think about these turbo lifts? I think it's an interesting development to have these bigger turbo lifts, like a little train car.
How long are you going to be in that car that you need to sit?
Well, I mean, Star Trek, the length of a conversation.
Well, I know that. But I mean, it's not like a Galaxy class ship. Even then, you didn't need to sit.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I wrote in my notes, I was halfway expecting Admiral Vance to pop in and glitch and say something like, have a good all worlds day, just because they always seem to bring him in for a quick second.
Yeah.
I want him to show up, his little hologram show up and glitch like that. And they'll be like, oh, do you need to go to that hologram spa that Sam went to?
Right.
Yeah.
I hope we do see Genesis's father and learn more about her backstory there, aside from just her being driven by fear and all her friends, all her dad's friends know it.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something interesting there with her dad being an admiral and her growing up the way she did. Post burn, but sort of traveling and not settling down on the planet,
Yeah. And fear is a very specific word. If they were just saying she was driven, like most people who'd have a parent who's been a high-ranking officer, that's one thing. Fear is a very specific and strange word for everybody to use.
And she doesn't seem driven by fear.
Well, it seems like the fear is that she doesn't belong. Like she's a nepo baby. Yes. Right. She's the admiral's daughter, and that's why she's getting what she's getting, and that she's not good enough on her own. But obviously that's not true because her dad's not there. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. More Genesis, please.
Please. All right. Any more closing thoughts on this before we wrap it up? We've only got three episodes left.
3 episodes left.
3. Isn't that crazy?
And then we have to start thinking of topics again.
Well, our next ones after this is the opening credits.
Okay.
Episodes.
Yep. And then we'll be having the Sweatmans back to talk about EST season 1?
Yes.
And will we do an actual season wrap-up episode after the 10th episode? Do we want to do that separate?
I don't think so. I think we can go straight into I think probably we'll roll it in with the last week.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I was trying to make sure I got the name right, and maybe Jared talking about the Star Trek cruise.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yes.
We'll be in
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Oh, hey, one last comment from Jordan. I think I've really cast Genesis Dadmiral like an Admiral Paris. I kind of hope he ends up being this big teddy bear dude or something atypical for an admiral. Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, it'd be, I mean, it's funny anytime you play it against type. You sort of set him up as this intimidating figure, and he's like the nicest guy. You know?
Exactly.
Yeah, probably not.
Exactly.
Probably he'll be a bit stern when he shows up. And I would like to learn more about her planet and culture, right? Because they all have sort of they all have our planet and culture, essentially. Like they all have our culture. So I hope we learn something that's unique about. I don't even remember what she is.
That's the thing. Well, like we at least know a little bit about Kyonians.
Yeah.
We don't know squat about her people, and I don't even remember what her people are called because, like, they barely said anything about it since the first episode.
The planet of sparkly eyebrows.
Right.
So, with 3 episodes going, and then the fact that they have a season 2, are we thinking they're going to do some kind of major arc to end the season, like build up to some major thing?
Yeah, they're going to build up to some showdown with Paul Giamatti. Other than that, I don't know what else they would do.
Yeah, I hope they don't kick Paul Giamatti off a cliff or a space.
Oh my God! Please not
a black hole.
He said in an interview that he's not dead.
Yeah, but he can't say in an interview if he's dead.
Right.
Right.
But he shouldn't have said either way.
Right.
Exactly.
Like he may be trying to like throw us off, and he actually.
Their trend has been, you wipe the slate clean at the end of the season.
That's what I'm wondering.
Right.
Picard was that way. Discovery's that way. Strange New Worlds is that way. You wipe the slate clean at the end of the season. We were lucky in Strange New Worlds to actually get a cliffhanger. But so I hope they keep him alive and develop him. Like if you'd have kicked Gul Dukat off a cliff in season 1 instead of season 7, he would be a much less interesting character.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And it would be a much less interesting show.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm wondering. Yeah, I was wondering, were they going to try to wrap up his storyline and Caleb's mother's storyline at this season, or since they have another season?
She's got to be the big bad, right? Like, or maybe she's the big bad of season 2. That'd be a pivot that made sense. Once he's bought into Starfleet and he's loyal, then he finds out that Mama's the bad guy.
I never even thought about that.
Oh yeah, I feel like that's going to happen.
Yeah. Interesting. Never crossed my mind.
Okay. Yeah. Jared lets us know that there was some Trek news this week. Pocket Books added the entire back catalog of Trek fiction to Kindle Unlimited.
Nice.
I did not see that news at all. That's really, really awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
That's great. There's so much back stuff that I haven't read in a long time.
Yeah.
That I'd love to reread.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think summarizing this episode, it wasn't bad, it wasn't great, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It wasn't great.
No.
Yeah.
This is like it's like Day to Day. This is the 2B stories.
Yeah.
More interesting next
Right.
week.
Totally.
Right. Completely agree with that.
Okay. Alan, where can people find more of you?
You could head over to cosmiccreative.com. That is spelled KOZMIC creative.com. And I've got 2 brand new Doctor Who books. It's a 2-parter called Time Flight, 65 years of Doctor Who history. The first volume covers 1960 to 1989. And then the second one picks up at 1990 and goes all the way to the end of 2025. And it covers television, novels, comics, audios, but also things like the webisodes and the very first Doctor Who convention, the launch of Doctor Who magazine, the launch of Big Finish. It's got so much stuff in there. It's everything Doctor Who in one big timeline. And if you don't buy it between now and April, then you'll just have to buy copies when you come to Stellarfest.
Well, there you go.
And how about you, Keith?
You can find me on Facebook, primarily the ESO Network Facebook groups.
How about us, Veronica?
Felt30.com.
That's right. And we've got a new show we're working on that we're going to be debuting sort of a workshop version of it at Puppet Palooza in Helen, Georgia, coming up in April, that we're hoping to bring wider and bring to some theaters. And then in May, we'll be at the Aurora Theater doing our Star Trek inspired show called Captain Peak. They've got us there on May the 2nd. Where else people find us?
Monkeying Around, a podcast about the monkeys.
And do you have a closing for us this week?
Yes, this was a very quote light thing.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
But I got one.
Okay.
I've spent my whole life running from things. I don't want to run anymore.
Perfect.
Well, I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, there's our alarm telling
Keith's
us.
our outro music. Sorry, time's up. Sorry, Keith. We don't want to keep you.
I've gone several episodes without that happening. Sorry, y'all.
All right. Well, join us live on Thursday evening talking about the latest Star Trek episode, or after the season's over, Legacy Star Trek topic. Or you can find us after the fact on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform as Earth Station Trek. And if you have an Earth Station Trek shirt, hang on to it because it's more valuable now because we got pulled from TeePublic.
That's right.
Wow.
Paramount got mad at us.
Yep, they caught up with us.
After it's been there for 5 years.
That's right.
And so you have people sitting around trolling the net looking for that, I guess.
What?
Yeah, so your Earth Station Trek t-shirts just became way more valuable.
It's a collector's item.
That's right.
That's sad because mine is falling apart.
Same.
All right,
Amazing.
everybody. See you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Take
care,
care,
all.
y'all.
Bye.
Bye.